mean, honestly, she's just a hooper. Like, if you cross by her, you would never even know. Like, she's just so humble and just so sweet. And I'm like, Kelsey, like, talking like, you're one of the best guards in this league. But, I mean, she's just an amazing player. I'm happy to play alongside her. I'm happy to cheer for her. I'm happy to just, like, be in her space. Such a great teammate, such a phenomenal human person. I could not say enough great things about Kelsey Mitchell. Like, everyone deserves a Kelsey Mitchell on their team, but they don't get it because we get her.
That's right.
This is facts.
And with that, we welcome you inside a post-game edition of Indiana. What is this called, Chloe? Fever Insider Live.
I don't know.
Brian Haenchen, Chloe Peterson, Tony East here with you. Chloe reporting live, of course, from Las Vegas. She is not, it appears, at the casino.
I know.
Appointment for me.
I do have a fun background, though.
That is a good background.
Shout out Dustin Dopirak.
Good to get that out of the way at the top. Fever coming off an 89-73 win, game one of the WNBA semifinals over the Las Vegas Aces. Kelsey Mitchell sets a new career high for herself in the playoffs with 34 points and 12 of 23 shooting. Fever shoot 50% from the field, 31% from three, 94% from the line. Again, that efficiency at the free throw line remains a big factor for them. On the other side, Las Vegas, A'ja Wilson had a tough night, 6 for 22 shooting, 16 points. Just kind of an off night overall for the Aces, who shot 40% from the field. And with that, Chloe, I'll let you get us started.
Yeah, it was one of those games, I think, similar to Game 2 against Atlanta, where I was kind of just waiting for the Aces to get it together. And then they never did, which is a testament to, the Fever's defense, first off, and, Aaliyah Boston's defense, specifically on A'ja Wilson. According to ESPN, apparently A'ja Wilson was 2-11 when Aaliyah Boston was guarding her. Did Brian just leave? Oh, he's back.
I was hoping you wouldn't notice me leaving to turn off a light.
But anyway, yeah, so testament to their defense and obviously their offense and being able to outpace the Aces. That's something Becky Hammon really said post-game was one of the biggest things. Like, they just outpaced the Aces. So testament to the Fever and, just their third win over the Aces this season after I think it was like Aces went 19-1 since they moved to Las Vegas in 2018. So yeah.
What was that stat from ESPN, by the way? I might add that to my story because I had another.
A'ja Wilson was 2-11 when Aaliyah Boston was guarding her today.
Okay.
I just felt like for so much, not that the Aces play like slow, but I wrote in my series preview that a lot of what I was curious about was could the Fever get their style like imposed on a game? Because they clearly want to play fast. And they did that against the Dream. And after missed shots, they run. And we get that. And Odyssey and Kelsey Mitchell were zippy today. But they were like, the Aces would score, put the ball in the net. Easy chance to set their defense. And the Fever would just throw it in and just throw it to Kelsey Mitchell. And she would just beat everybody down the floor. Like, they were just faster and zippier in every kind of aspect of the game today. Not that like the Aces weren't ready for it. Maybe they weren't. It's almost like they were ready for it, like they knew it was coming, but weren't ready for it, like ready to play, ready for it. They were just slow and sluggish. They kept losing cutters. Like Odyssey Sims, a bunch of her assists were just like, oh, someone's open under the basket. Great, I will throw it to that. That stuff is easy offense. That the Fever are very good at occupying that kind of space. And so I think that kind of quick ball movement and quick player movement was really the story to me of the style.
Chloe's being somebody's talking to Chloe. She's a celebrity. You can't keep the fans away from this girl. It's incredible. The aura, as somebody referenced at the press conference, that Chloe Peterson brings to the beat.
What? The aura I bring.
We know this person, Chloe?
I don't know.
No.
It was a TV person. I know that. Might have been. I know there's a TV person here from Indy, but
anyway, yeah, it really did, Tony. It felt like at times, the Fever just kind of wanted it more, like that cliche thing. And I think that the Aces kind of brought that up to themselves in their post-game press conference. Like, they're getting beaten to a lot of 50-50 balls. They just the Fever played with the desperation that we saw in those last two games of Atlanta. Like, it almost felt like they treated it like a must-win, which, looking at this series and as I thought about it, it kind of felt like, if they could steal this one, man, you feel really good. Obviously you need to take one game in Vegas, but to take game one and to do it in the fashion in which they did it. Now they have some breathing room. You can lose in game two, which, Chloe, I think we were discussing before, feels like Vegas is going to come back with the fires of all hell, and then you have 2 home games to potentially close the thing out. So, but that was really interesting, Tony, just the intensity and the edge with which the Fever played tonight in Game 1.
Yeah, Becky said that first thing right away was about urgency, right? They played with greater urgency. And then I laughed when she said, I know we're capable, but not if we play like that, right? That was kind of the crux of it is, yes, the Fever imposed their style and played very well. Like, I don't want to discredit the Fever at all. A lot of their box score indicators, thank you for pulling up, perfect timing, were very good. They had 10 turnovers. That's great. They made half their shots. That's great. They got to the line, only missed 1 free throw, right? A lot of stuff went really well. Every starter did their thing. Like, that's all huge for the series that they know what that's going to take. But also, like, the Aces really stunk at a lot of stuff that they're kind of normally much better at. And so I'll be curious how that kind of swings in Game 2. Is it where the Fever so good at slowing the Aces down at things the Aces are good at, or the Aces really just have this like lethargic, get in their own way kind of game? I think it's a little of both, and we can talk about that later. But that will be very telling going forward.
Yeah, something interesting that I've noticed too, like about the free throws, is at the beginning of the season, Natasha Howard was not a good free throw shooter, but at some point, I don't know when, the bench and even sometimes like the 2 players that were in the lane, they would start clapping when Natasha Howard was like getting ready for her free throws. And since then, she's been a lot better. So I don't know if it's like she wants some noise or she wants some consistent noise to help her focus, but they've been clapping for her free throws, and she's improved a lot since then.
That's a damn good observation. I had not picked up on that.
I picked up on it on a home game when it was really quiet, obviously, and then there was just clapping. And then I noticed, like, I think it was like Bree Turner, who was standing in the lane, did it, or she was clapping, and I was like, why is she clapping when she's taking free throw? And then I noticed the entire bench was doing it. So yeah.
To Chloe's point, for those of you who are not watching and just listening, 4 for 4 Natasha Howard tonight at the line, 16 for 17 free throws for the Fever. An underrated aspect, I think, of this run has just been how wickedly efficient they've been at the line, because there have been some games throughout the season where they've kind of had duds, but man, just been rock solid at the line. Tony, you brought this up. Let's talk about the tempo of the game and the pace at which they played. I got some audio from the press conference talking about that tempo, the pace at which the Fever played, and just the importance in kind of dictating the outcome of that game.
I think we're one of the toughest teams to guard when we play at pace at a higher level. Coach talks to me about that all the time, making sure we're getting downhill, but also it's just the pace. When you come off more aggressive, it's hard to stop. And it's me and Kelsey mainly because we're in majority of the ball screen, but it opens up so much. We draw attention when we want to get to the lane, but we also have great teammates that we can pass it out to. And like I said, we don't want to live in the lane, but like I said, we're making sure we stay aggressive, but we also have our sprays, we have our kickouts, we have our high-lows with AB, just open it up. Me and Kelsey, we really open it up for everyone else, so we're just going to continue to have that mindset going into Game 2.
Fever came out fast. That's what Stephanie White said the goal was they wanted to set the tone early with the tempo. They wanted to instill their tempo, and Vegas really didn't have an answer. They had a stretch there, at the end of the first quarter when they subbed in Megan Gustafson and gave them a little bit of a bigger lineup, and they had some success there kind of mudding it down a little bit, and Gustafson provided a nice little spark off the bench here, at least briefly. But the Fever felt like kind of adjusted and went back to kind of dictating the pace, dictating the tempo, and it had Vegas back on its heels for a lot of it.
Yeah, that was something Kelsey talked about post-game following the podium, was that, something they kind of struggled with at the beginning of the season was, when teams would go on those runs, they would kind of crumble. And especially that happened against the Aces when they were here in June, I believe. And it happened multiple times, like end of June, early July, where the Fever would have a lead. The opponent would go on a run and then they just crumble from there. But kind of the Aces went on that run, end of first, start of second, and then they also had, I think it was like a 10-0 run in the third quarter. Mm-hmm. But each time, the Fever rebounded from that, and that's, I think, one of the biggest aspects of growth they've had this season.
I agree, and they got out of that run in the second quarter. Kelsey Mitchell just ran ahead and scored at the basket a few times. Like, she didn't start slow, but you could tell right away the attention she was getting was opening up everything. I think Howard and Boston had the first 10 points for the Fever, 12 points for the Fever, and I thought, man, like, they're going to have a great night if Kelsey Mitchell's drawing this level of attention from the Aces defenders. And she did. And she still scored 34 points. I hope I got that exact number right. 31, 34, whatever it was. Because that helped their tempo so much. There we go. That was the defend Kelsey Mitchell strategy today, because she was just getting ahead and getting open. And lo and behold, Becky Hammon's like, well, crap, my lineup's not working. I need smaller. I need guards. Dana Evans, you're going to play a lot more than normal today. I know she said that was for offense, and I kind of believe her, but I also think it was because she was like, crap, like we're getting run out of the gym. We need some pace on the floor.
And I think Becky Hammond straight up said when she was talking about the game, she had a lot of really good one-liners tonight, but it was just like, she wouldn't freaking miss. Kelsey Mitchell wouldn't. Just everything just went in seemingly. Chloe, did you have anything to follow up on that, or I was going to talk about the little spooky, scary moment there with Kelsey Mitchell there? What was that first?
One of my other favorite one-liners from Becky Hammond post-game today was, God forbid A'ja Wilson doesn't score 40 points.
We got to talk about A'ja quite a bit.
Yeah, we'll save that one here for just a second there, Slugger. Kelsey Mitchell, though, kind of a scary spot. It might have actually been on this play where she goes down. It looked like we were texting about it, and we've talked about it before in the show, the injuries, and it seems like Kelsey's playing through some things, but it looked like she was maybe grabbing her, left hip there when she was underneath the basket?
Yeah. She's been dealing with stuff, I think. I first noticed it, can't remember the specific day. It was early August whenever they were at the United Center. She, I think, had a similar foul like that, came up grabbing her groin area, which obviously there's trauma with this team regarding the groin area. But she played through it, and there have been times I've noticed since then, like she will get fouled, she will fall, and she will get up grimacing. And she's played through it every single time too. So I think after every game, whenever she comes into the press room, or she will be wearing 2 packs of ice on her knees. So I think that's just a testament to her grit and what she's been playing through this year.
I believe we were all 3 at that game in Chicago. She had 37, right?
Yeah.
So, what we're learning is banged up Kelsey Mitchell might be just better than regular Kelsey Mitchell too. So that play where she hurt her hip was the biggest play of the game. But in all seriousness, like for this super injured team, that's really that tenacity and grit's really important, and especially when she is plus 20 and scores 34 points. They need her on the floor all they can get.
Just an unbelievable performance from her. Speaking of Kelsey Mitchell, we have a little Kelsey Mitchell sound beyond Bree Turner saying that she needs to talk her shit. This is Kelsey Mitchell on her first semifinals appearance.
Semifinals, but you just didn't look like you looked totally unfazed out there, like not feeling the pressure. Is that kind of how you feel?
I think that as a competitor, it's like you want to win, you do your best to win. So that's like adjusting the room regardless. But I think that I can't. The controllables are the controllables, and the ones that are not are not. And so I thank God that I put my mental here to be able to have this conversation. But like I just try to keep it about basketball. So I think what you guys see is just me trying to just be a kid in the playground, I guess.
There was this moment in the first half where you had a jumper on the left wing, like a crossover and then a jumper. You had like a big smile on your face afterwards. Do you remember, or just you're sitting
No,
so
probably
full
not,
game?
man. I just be locked in. But I think that it was probably just a moment to see one go in. It was less about anything I do it don't have nothing to do with nobody else, other team or nothing like that. It's just about me and trying to just stay focused on the right stuff. So if I was smiling, it was about seeing one go in and kind of like giving yourself a sense of confidence.
Kelsey Mitchell following her breakout career performance tonight. Well, more of a career performance, not a breakout performance. Career performance tonight against the Las Vegas Aces in Game 1.
It was the highest point total for a player in their first ever semifinal game.
Wow.
Fun fact.
That is a fun fact. All right.
The ESPN research once again. They know everything.
Chloe, do you want to go A'ja Wilson or Odyssey Sims next?
We can do A'ja Wilson.
Okay,
Most
great.
likely.
I have video before we get to A'ja Wilson. I cut all this up after I finished writing, so we're going to get through all this audio.
Okay.
We know she's the MVP. She's like the best player in the world at the moment. So we just tried to make all her buckets tough. We weren't going to like stop her completely, but we wanted to make sure that every shot had a hand in her face, or she was like feeling contact. So just trying to make every bucket as hard as possible and not give her any easy ones.
Yeah, and I think making sure that we were disciplined everywhere else. We knew that we needed to limit their 3-point makes. We knew we needed to limit their free throws, and we knew that we needed to force them to play, individually. We can't let them ping the ball around. They're too good, and I thought our attention to detail for the most part was really good.
A'ja Wilson limited to 16 points on 6 of 22 shooting, 4 of 5 from the free throw line. I think she started 0 for 7 from the field.
Yes.
Becky Hammond said that players have bad days. Even 4-time MVPs have off nights. It would have been nice for her to get some more support. But looking back at some of the clips and just scrolling through the play-by-play, Aaliyah Boston had a hand in the face of A'ja Wilson on damn near every shot she took. She missed a lot of shots. I counted 15, I think, inside the lane or in the restricted area. And just looking at the highlights, I think Aaliyah Boston was one defending her, like Chloe said, on darn near every one, which is the hand in her face, pressuring her. He said between quarters to ESPN that they wanted to annoy her. I think they did a good job of that. They talked about bodying her up and being physical with her, and they did so, obviously, and did a good job of not fouling her. She only drew 5 fouls, got to the line 5 times.
Yeah, I think that's something Steph talked about post-game, too. Like, Aaliyah Boston only had 6 points, but her defense on A'ja was really kind of what was the difference in the game, too, because I think obviously A'ja's the MVP, the 4-time MVP, and the Aces rely on her a lot, and that's something Aces guard Dana Evans said post-game, too, that they needed to provide more help to A'ja because she was struggling in a sense today. But they rely on her so much, so when she struggles, and I mean 16 points isn't a bad number for most people, but for her it's lower than usual in the 6 of 22. Like, other players or other Aces players need to step up to make up for that, and nobody really did.
Okay. So what's funny is we previewed this series for a short amount of time after game 3 of the last round. And I believe we were all under the impression that, A'ja's going to score a bunch. They got to stop everybody else. Well, funny story. Tough start for Wilson in the series. And Jackie Young was really solid. And Chelsea Gray was, fine, but hit some, FU jumpers throughout the game that were just oh, man, she could get going any second. And the Fever still won by 16 points. Care to guess how many times during the regular season A'ja Wilson shot worse than the 27.2% she shot today?
Once?
Close. The answer is 3. 3 of her 40-plus appearances, she shot worse than that. So I do think Becky Hammond is right in part when she says she just missed a little bit, right? If it's that level of bad, yes, we have evidence, a lot of it, from the literal MVP. By the way, we glossed over Kelsey Mitchell's excellent finish in that. We were talking about her. Maybe we'll get to that later. But so there is some of that, but Aaliyah was fantastic guarding A'ja in this game. The Fever did a good job sending a second player to not let her go left, and then that player would kind of fade out to guard their own player throughout the game, and that's why nobody else really got going in this one. So some A'ja missing, some Aaliyah Boston, the defender you are, some Fever team effort, but they did a good job doing exactly what they said. They annoyed her. They knew the assignment, and they've done really well with these stud post players in the postseason so far. Bree Jones never was super killer. Grinder never really got going at all. So we'll see if it's a trend because this is the best player in the league. But game 1, they passed with flying colors.
It is a nice luxury, too, when the guards are stepping up and scoring at the clip at which they have been, that Boston can focus on defending and doesn't have to score. And obviously, I think she did, right, in games 2 and 3 in Atlanta. But this feels very familiar to the Atlanta series in the beginning when it was Aaliyah didn't score a ton of points, but she was defending her ass off on the other end, and that helped explain it. Well, kind of a similar thing tonight, except the pieces around her really stepped up and did a good job of compensating for the lost scoring. Chloe, take us to our next topic. Or Tony, if you got one, you take it away, brother.
Oh, no, I don't want to talk forever.
You're the host, Brian.
Yeah.
I know, and I'm hostfully passing it off to you, lead beat writer.
Well, I can talk about the stretch that I thought was the game.
Yeah, let's do that. And then we'll
The late third, Chloe mentioned earlier, the late third quarter moment where they got it to 3, and I thought, uh-oh. And A'ja committed her 4th foul at that time. And even though A'ja went 6 for 22, she's still also a premier defender, right? So,
defensive player of the year.
Coming off, yes, exactly. Her coming off the floor is a big deal. And I think it was 57-54 or maybe 58-55.
It was 58-53.
Okay.
Off the floor.
Oh, that's right. And they scored 2 more after that. So it was a 5-point game when she came out. And then right after, the Aces scored again. Yes, thank you. You were right. Jackie Young scored to cut it to 3. And I thought, oh, boy, this is a tough stretch. Closing quarters is something that Stephanie White talks about all the time that they've had problems with. The bench was on the floor, not all the bench, but some bench players on the floor, and the bench had a rough first half stint about that time. Chloe, you also talked about this earlier. You're all over this, Chloe. And so I thought, this is like this. If they're going to give this game away, it's going to be this stretch. Instead, like their best 3 minutes of the whole game, and then they were up double digits going into the quarter end. They got a bunch of jumpers to go, a bunch of threes, and then they just ran away with it. That stretch, taking advantage of the few moments you'll actually get in a series like this where Asia Wilson's not in the game, that was so massive.
Yes, I agree. Forgot about that stretch, but that was like the point where the game changed, I think, because it was a 3-point game and that obviously been pretty close the entire game. Fever were up 19-10 at one point in the first quarter, and the Aces went on an 8-0 run to get it back within a point, and then that was kind of where the Fever broke it open in a way, and the entire fourth quarter they maintained that double digit, got it up to 15, 17 at points in the game, that it was just coasting and just maintaining to the end for them. And that was huge, and giving them that confidence at the end of the third, just saying, we can go win this kind of thing.
Yeah, that was the stretch that I wrote about too, and I wrote about the Asia Wilson thing. It was Lexi Hall too, who went right at her. It's like good situational awareness. The Fever were kind of reeling at that point, like they mentioned, where it really did. It felt like, okay, this is the moment. The Fever successfully fought off a couple of these rallies. They did in the first half. They did again early in the third quarter. This will be the one where Vegas finds its footing and really takes control. But instead, Lexi Hall goes right at her, picks up that fourth foul, ends that 10-0 run. And then, like you guys said, the Fever kind of took off from there. Just a massive moment. Wrong end of a 12-2 run by the Fever there to close out the third quarter. That was really impressive.
That was what I thought. I thought they could lose it at that point, right? And they've responded better to those runs in this postseason. But like, Becky had figured out that Dana Evans was like a thing that was working for the Aces in a way that I didn't expect to be. Like, Joelle Odo's not very good, and Dana Evans was awesome. They were figuring it out. They were getting Asia touches far from the basket. Dana was working. Their defense was a little better. Like, it did not feel like a game the Fever had a grip on. And then you blink, and I'm like, oh, they're up 15 points. Okay, never mind.
It has been remarkable just overall how this team has addressed a lot of the issues and some of the bugaboos that plagued them throughout the regular season and kind of prevented them from fully taking their full form. And that being one of the biggest ones, just the inability to close out quarters and those lulls. And today was another great example of that. How about that Odyssey Sims? She was brilliant today.
Really good.
Very noticeable. 17 points, 7 of 13 shooting. 3 of 3 at the line, 3 assists, big role in getting the defense going too with the 3 steals there as well. Chloe, what'd you think of her?
I mean, she's obviously the point guard. She's the one that set the pace, I think, that the Aces couldn't match. And obviously we saw that clip from her earlier where I asked her about it. But, she was just so good. And she also, as we talked about with, the guards stepping up, and so Aaliyah Boston didn't have to score that much today. Like, Odyssey Sims was the one that stepped up with those 17 points. And I think she really held it down in a way. And obviously Natasha Howard as well with a double-double, kind of a quieter double-double, what I thought. But she really held down the scoring. So obviously Aaliyah Boston, Bree Turner, they could focus on that defense with Asia Wilson as well.
Once you have 8 assists in game 3 of the Atlanta series, we've seen Odyssey really be distributor Odyssey. In this game, they needed scoring Odyssey, right? Because the weakest dream defender, at least in terms of players who can actually create shots, was typically on Odyssey Sims. She was like, great, I'm going to take that space and make this funky floater that only I make and take in the entire WNBA. It's such a cool shot. But she made other stuff too. She made jumper. She was doing all sorts of good stuff, getting to the line in a way that actually put pressure on a good defense and made people rotate and move. And no one else can have these brilliant 34-point nights if someone like Odyssey Sims isn't cracking the defense in some way. So I agree, she was fantastic.
And I think it also made it so obviously the defense had to pay attention to Odyssey too. Kelsey Mitchell could have been maybe double teamed more, but then you have Odyssey Sims going in and scoring too. So you have to give attention to both of them, and that also opened it up for Kelsey.
It's at this point of the show where I'll quickly pause and say, if you want to get involved in the conversation, do so in the comments. We'll do the little Q&A sesh here in a few minutes as we get through the rest of our topics here. So what adjustments do you expect to see from Las Vegas going into game 2? Obviously, they're a team that relishes that underdog role, seems to play really well pissed off. I feel like that's a reflection of their coach, Becky Hammond, who kind of has that piss and vinegar in her in the best ways possible as a coach. But what are you guys expecting to see from them schematically? Tony, I'll start with you.
Dude, can they just like sleep in more and be focused? This sounds so like they're kids, but they were so unfocused for a second round playoff game, right? Like the things that the Fever beat you with, we all know what they are. And to be clear, this is kind of true of every team that forms an identity. Like you shouldn't be this unprepared for just, oh crap, the Fever are fast and cutting. Like, yeah, that's what they do, right? That's how they want to beat you. And they like tried to defend Kelsey Mitchell. They were doing an okay job early in the game, but they just felt very sloppy and slow in a way that I didn't expect. That like, I wonder if adjustment one that Becky Hammond will rely on is the classic play better adjustment that every team hopes to have in every playoff game before she pulls any cards, because she did do stuff mid-game. We talked about them a little bit, like going small actually worked for them. Dana, again, Indiana native, was really good in this game. I wonder if they would start her for Bell in this series, even though that putting Bell in the starting five would like change their entire season, basically. So maybe that's something they look to. Maybe they try to keep getting Asia these higher up touches to get her the ball without so much traffic around her. That did seem to have a little bit of a positive effect in the second half, albeit still one of her worst games shooting percentage wise of the season. But from the Fever side, I mean, what do you really hope to do better into the Fever? Get better bench production, I suppose, like have Aaliyah Boston make some shots that she can make. She took 2 threes, which surprised me, but like they played the style they want and got shots that they like. Not to say that they don't need to adjust. Every team always wants to, but stylistically, they just were imposing in a way that I think they'll hope they can just repeat.
I do wonder, I mean, I don't want to assume this, but I wonder if kind of the Aces came into this game with an air of, you know, we're the better team and we're going to beat them. Because I kind of look back to what Becky Hammond said pre or after they beat the Valkyries, or not the Valkyries, after they beat the Storm. And someone asked her about matching up with the Fever, and Becky Hammond said, you know, they haven't seen the real Aces yet. So I wonder if there was that air of, you know, we've done so well second half of the season. You know, obviously the Fever had a lot of injury issues. So I wonder if there was that air of, you know, we're better than them. We don't need to be, you know, that much of prepared. And obviously that kind of blew up in their faces if that was the case too. But I think obviously Becky Hammond also mentioned post-game that A'ja Wilson is not the type of player to have 2 bad games in a row. So I think they expect, I don't know if it's as much an adjustment as it is that they expect A'ja to be better on Tuesday. But I also think they could really kind of try to lean into trying to draw more fouls, or like trying to get Aaliyah Boston specifically into foul trouble too, because that would obviously take her out of the equation in both the guarding A'ja Wilson category and the scoring category as well. So I wonder if that's kind of something they'll try to do on Tuesday, but that's also something that they can kind of control, kind of not control, but we'll see.
The Fever listened to our post-game show from Game 3 and heard that part where we said that they'd probably just let A'ja Wilson score a bunch of points and control everybody else. But they were waiting for Game 2 to employ that strategy.
Yeah.
Everybody off balance, because they knew that the Aces were probably listening to it too for bulletin board material.
Chloe, can you do me a favor in Vegas? Can you demand an adjustment? Can you figure out who's in charge of the in-stadium sound in Vegas and make them stop playing that everybody scream sound? That was so annoying. It was like every 30 seconds, and no fans actually screamed after they did that. I hated that.
I don't know if that's the constant noise that, you know, the person in the comments is referring to. But
I don't see the tweet either.
But first of all, that is annoying. And second of all, like to this Chickadee Dreams person, every team plays music or the really annoying come on, whatever, everybody scream type of thing. Everyone plays that on offense or defense. That was a big adjustment I had when I went from covering college women's basketball to the WNBA. I didn't know they played music like while they were like playing the game, but every team does it.
It's too loud. I'm a boomer on this.
I am also a boomer. I would prefer there not to be music.
Me too.
That's why I like what the Fever do in like the drums when they're on defense, because that's not as loud. But that's just my boomer take of the day.
Good take.
We're the target audience, and we all hate it, guys. That's not
Yeah.
good.
I don't know that we're Tony. I think you and I are probably aging out of the target audience.
Or if they just
demographic.
like make it like not as loud. I want to be able to like talk to people. Like
Chloe is a world class
press row.
yapper.
Ingrid, feel
I
those
like
people if you're
I like the
listening.
yap.
I like that players have their unique sounds. We do not need to hear bow, bow,
Yes.
bow every time Aaliyah scores a basket. It's going to be okay.
I never actually asked you this, Tony. Is that new this season? I don't
Yes.
remember that happening. Okay, I don't remember it happening last season, but I wasn't sure.
And it's definitely new for other players because, like, Natasha Howard has the beast mode one.
Yeah.
You know, Caitlin had the feeling 22 thing. Like, that definitely didn't happen last year. So,
Yeah.
no, it's definitely new. And it was very cute once. I don't like it.
Maybe just have to like specific shots. Like let's pick
Yes.
our shots a little better with it, huh?
Like a logo 3, perfect. Play some noise, man. People are going crazy.
Right.
Like, every basket does not need this.
Play the entirety of the song. Like, it's a great song by Taylor Swift. Just play the whole thing for 3 minutes.
That would be funny.
Oh my gosh. Anything else you guys want to get to from this game or other thoughts from this? We should probably touch on the MVP race after that, and then also Minnesota coming back to take down Phoenix. That might be a good little series they got cooking over there.
Yeah. I don't have any
First thoughts on this one.
Talk would be great.
What's up?
I've reached all my notes from the game if we want to do MVP talk.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk MVP. Chloe, did you have any other thoughts while I pull up the image?
No.
Cool. All right, Asia Wilson, of course, named MVP, as we've said, 4-time MVP at this point. 51 votes for her. First place votes for her, 21 second place votes. Kelsey Mitchell comes in 5th place. She got a handful of 4th place votes, mostly 5th place votes, and 93 points. Not a really big surprise, I feel like, and not super controversial.
I don't think so. I voted for Asia. So
Pretty good list. There's only one terrible vote. The player who is the terrible vote even tweeted about the vote being not very good. Shout out to Rakia Jackson for leading into the humor of getting her 5th place vote and saying she has to take somebody out to dinner. I think I tweeted this during the season, even when the Fever beat the Aces, that it felt like Asia was the most dominant player, but the Aces were super bad at that time. And then Collier got hurt, and then the Aces won a million games in a row. So I think that's a totally justified win for her. And then she did not play very well in the first game after it. So, and Collier was pretty dang good today for Minnesota. Alyssa Thomas, it just kind of stinks. It might never happen for her. She's in an era with so many good players.
yeah, I mean, Alyssa Thomas, I think, definitely had a case. And if Asia Wilson and Nafisa Collier didn't exist, obviously, that would be hers to take. But I think it's also like the media attention or the national media attention was so much on Nafisa Collier this year and how it was kind of her MVP to lose. But I think at the end of the day, it really was, she missed 11 games. She missed 25% of the season, which I took into account when I was voting because that's just a lot of games to miss, especially in a 44-game season. And especially, you know, Nafisa was at the height of her MVP talk when the Aces were struggling at the beginning of the season. And then Asia Wilson goes and leads the Aces on a 16-0 win streak to end the season. So I think those two things combined together, obviously Aces going on a 16-0 win streak powered by Asia Wilson and then Nafisa Collier also being out at the same time, kind of really flipped the script on that.
The other like broad strokes takeaway I had is like, look, we all have lived the Fever season, right? We all know all the stuff they've gone through, and like in the last month and a half, they've really flipped their roster over. And yet everybody's like, wow, what an upset. They beat the Dream. And it was an upset in the seeding and in the standings. And I'm like, they have the 5th and 6th MVP finishers. Like, is it really that crazy that they won a playoff series? Like, their best 2 players are really, really fantastic, right? So, but well-deserved, right? Mitchell was awesome. 15 4th place votes. I wondered if she would be, you know, competing with the Neka Aliyah group. And like, Stewie, I thought might do even a little better, even though she missed a lot of time. But the voters clearly said, no. Kelsey Mitchell was awesome this year. The Fever's campaigning clearly worked very well, as it should. She was fantastic.
Were you surprised, staying with the awards things, were you guys surprised that Stephanie White didn't get a single vote for Coach of the Year, or is that one of those where you can only vote for one?
You can only vote for one.
Okay, never mind. I take back the question.
I mean, I voted for Natalie Nakase.
Okay. She's the
I
correct
think
answer.
she
I agree.
had the biggest case, and Carl Smesco had the next biggest case.
You're on fire,
So-
Chloe.
Okay, who's
What up?
third? Let's make it 3 for 3.
So I don't know who's third.
Third was third was Reeve, which I thought was also fair.
Also
Cheryl Reeve.
fair.
Your team's that good. Yeah.
Also accurate. Speaking of Cheryl Reeve and her Minnesota Lynx, they come back for a 101 to 72. Oh wait, no, this is the
There's
wrong
not-
game. Whoopsie daisy, boys. Woo!
82-69.
Yeah.
82-69. They come back. I was trying to find how big of a deficit they came back from. They're down 7. The Lynx were going into the one of the quarters, and then they were tied at another point in the game and come back. Courtney Williams, though, in all seriousness, was brilliant for the Minnesota Lynx, who were down 7 at halftime, tied going into the fourth quarter. Courtney Williams with a big monster game for them. Putting up the numbers as my computer continues to lag. 23 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 steals, 18 points, 9 boards from Nafisa Collier, and then Kayla McBride with 21 points as well. But I mean, Phoenix played them tough on the road in game 1. It's always curious, maybe a little bit of feeling out process allows the underdogs to hang in there more, but that'll be a fun series to watch, hopefully, as things get going.
I think Minnesota's the best team left. I wondered, no Carrington, if they could continue to look super dominant, and their second half said yes. Yes, they can.
Yes.
Very impressive. Any other thoughts before we get to the old Q&A and dip our toes into the comment section?
No.
Let's do
Okay,
it.
cool. Kelsey Mitchell is special. I agree. Somebody else, Chloe, wants to know if you're posted up in the slots yet.
Yes.
That was a running joke. I was trying to convince my editor that I should do this from the slots, but he was not a big fan. Shout out Aaron. He did not want me to do this from the slots, unfortunately.
I don't think the casino themselves would like that very much either. So maybe don't do that.
That's fair, I
The
guess.
casino would have a bigger problem if
Unless
you're
you're
sitting there
actively playing,
Hold'em.
in which case you'd not be paying much attention.
I think you could. I thought it would be fun. Like if Chloe didn't like a take we had, she pulls the lever and then the slot machine starts going to drown us out. I thought that there was some real potential. Or she's throwing like craps and she has like her phone pulled up.
Oh, you really want to get kicked out? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think there was some opportunities here for Chloe.
I could have gone. Another media member went to play roulette. I could have gone and watched them play roulette, and then tuned in from there.
Without
But
doxing your location, is there a casino in your hotel?
no, there is not.
Oh no! Uh-oh. You gotta give an
Boo.
effort to do this. Yeah, boo indeed.
Yeah.
Is this do you stay at the same place every time you go to Vegas, Chloe, or do you kind of sample?
I sometimes did. Well, the place I usually stay at was not available, and then I also wanted free breakfast because I didn't want to have to think about breakfast. So
The girl can
Honestly, if I admit there's not a casino in your hotel, you kind of dox yourself. There's only like 3 choices left close to me.
Might as well just tell the people now, Chloe. Your fans will find you eventually.
My bad. Shouldn't ask.
Becky said Asia missed shots all the time. That was it. As we discussed, they couldn't keep up with their pay. Aaliyah Boston had her locked up. Beast mode.
Yep.
I need to do a better job of pulling these up.
Chloe, did you
During
vote
the-
Aaliyah all defense?
I don't think so.
Wow.
I think she's going to be very close. I'll be interested to
Yeah.
see where that lands.
I remember Ryan and Rebecca bring up the clapping during the Dallas game on the broadcast. That's in reference to the clapping during Natasha Howard's free throw shooting.
Very nice.
That's a good pull there from KB, friend of the show. Odyssey Sims is a very good thing. Okay, here we go. This is a good one. Chloe, how did the crowd seem? It didn't seem like many people wore their shirts, and it seemed kind of quiet. I expected a bit of a hostile crowd for the Aces in the semis against the Fever.
It was definitely quieter in the second half. I kind of base it off of how many times I get a little thing on my watch that says it's like 90 decibels or higher, and that definitely went down during the second half. But I think I don't know. It wasn't as
Were you expecting it to be more hostile?
I don't know. There were a good amount of Fever fans, I would say.
Really?
And I think the small contingent of Fever fans were very loud. And the bigger contingent of Aces fans were, not as loud.
Pivoting off of that and applying it to Indiana, what kind of crowd are you expecting when they come home at the end of the week?
I think it depends on if they win on Tuesday.
Really?
Because
they could lose Tuesday and still just be 2 wins away from clinching it.
Yeah. And I think it being a Friday, Sunday, that's going to be a bigger turnout than what it was Tuesday when they played the Dream.
Yes.
So, I think it'll be better turnout with Friday, Sunday games. And the fact, I think a lot of people really kind of assumed that the Fever were going to lose to the Dream, which was fair to think. But now that they're in the semifinals, there might be a renewed push or a renewed hope for the Fever season in a way, and that might get more people out, along with the fact this weekend.
Agreed.
What do you think, Tone?
Yeah, I think that's right. The weekend will not naturally help the crowd, but not that no one had hoped that they'd beat the Dream, but they got smoked in game 1, right? And so I don't think any people knew, and now they've won 3 in a row since then. And if they win both games at home, they will be in the WNBA finals, right? Regardless of what happens in their next game. So fans will naturally react to such a possibility for a team that has overcome every obstacle ever this whole season. So yeah, I agree. I expect a bigger crowd for game 3, especially if they lose game 2, because then that has a lot of juice. That'll be a great game.
Yeah. Oh my God. Imagine if they somehow pull off the win in game 2, game 2 to set up the potential for a sweep on a Friday night in downtown Indianapolis. Man. That's going to be unlike anything we've seen before. And that would also be nice.
Research project for one of you. Maybe I'll do it. Has the W and men's team in the same market made the finals in the same year? That is now a thing that is very much on the table.
That's a great question. We'll have to look into that. Chloe, you should research that on your day off. Tony and I got to work here in Indy.
Well, the Fever canceled their practice, so I'm going to go to Topgolf.
Very fun. That's a sick Topgolf too. You've used the strip. It's very cool.
Oh, nice.
Nice. How's the Sphere out there, by the way? Do they have? Are they promoting the show on the Sphere yet?
They're not. Well, I did get an ad that they're showing the Wizard of Oz at the Sphere, which is kind of cool. I thought about it.
I've heard that's an atrocity and a sin against the original. Or the original Wizard
Everyone's
of Oz.
A hater of the Sphere, but I think it's cool. I've never been there, but I think it's cool.
It looks cool. I've had some friends who've gone to concerts there. It looks really neat. I don't know,
This
Tony.
is
You've ever
shockingly not the first time. Sorry,
that you've been to the Sphere?
No. In 2021.
Oh, basketball.
Phoenix Mercury and Phoenix Suns both in the finals, and the 26th. Oh, that's the only one actually. The 2016 Lynx Vikings. Then 2000 and 2001 was the Pacers run and the Fever emerging as a franchise and becoming good. And the Fever were very close in 2002. But no, the only time is 2021.
Can Kelsey Mitchell get MVP of the playoffs if the Fever go all the way? Yes.
Yes.
I mean, if that's WNBA Finals MVP, yeah. There's not a semifinals MVP, right?
Correct.
I don't think so.
Okay. They just introduced that for the NBA last year, didn't they?
2 years ago,
Eastern Conference Finals.
The Pacers Celtics series 2 years ago was the first time they had. I would say to this point though that this is not a real award, but I think Kelsey's been the best player in the playoffs so far this year.
Yeah.
We should do it like hockey, where it's the body of work through the entire playoffs. You know what I'm talking about, Tony?
Yes.
And I think she'd be a shoo-in for that. So to win MVP, I think this is a shot. You can be good only 36% of the season, but being good for 75% of the season and getting 50, 40, 90 is just not good enough, huh?
Well, I saw this comment, so I looked this up already. First of all, I think A'ja Wilson was better than 36% of the season. Also, A'ja Wilson finished this season first in points per game, first in points per game, first in points, first in rebounds, first in blocks per game, second in blocks, second in rebounds per game, third in steals, first in 20-point games, first in 30-point games, and second in double-doubles. So I think that's good enough for MVP.
I think A'ja was the second best player for a lot of the season and then the best player to close the season. And Fee did get 50, 40, 90. And I would actually say per minute played, I would argue to anyone that Fee was the best player. But A'ja played a lot more than her. So I'm totally fine with the Wilson win.
Not trying to get too far ahead, but if the Fever made it to the finals, who do you think would be a better matchup for the Fever between the Lynx or Mercury, basketball-wise and or storyline-wise? I feel like storyline-wise, it's the Mercury in a walk, right? It's obviously. Basketball-wise, though, is it also the Mercury? I mean, they played storyline. You get
the Commissioner's Cup rematch in the finals. Yeah. Bring it back. It's Phoenix for the stories.
I mean, basketball-wise, I don't know, because the Fever had good games against both. We like that. The Fever had good games against Phoenix whenever that 107-point game was, July, I think. And they had that good Commissioner's Cup game against the Lynx, but then there are also multiple games where the Fever were not good against both of those teams. So
I'll say this. I think their most pathetic performance of the season was against the Mercury. So,
yeah,
and the physicality has even, I would say it's slightly better Lynx for the Fever, but that sounds so greedy to say. Yeah, they should want to play the team that was the best for the whole season. Sounds good.
Well, last time that they played them, though, in a championship game setting, the Lynx just forgot how to hit a layup,
terrible.
So yeah, you never know. What do you think the WNBA? What do you think for the league? What do you think their dream final would be with the 4 teams left?
Aces Lynx.
That was a really dumb question. Thank you. Who's the dream opponent? Who's the dream opponent? Let's say Indiana somehow gets through. Who do you think they would rather see opposite the Fever?
I mean, storyline wise, probably the Mercury.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that better for ratings though?
Yeah,
Probably. Probably be some chippiness, and Sophie Cunningham has that podcast.
Yeah.
But I don't know. All right, fine. Close a stupid question. Whatever. No practice? One word.
Well, they're
All
technically
across.
having a walkthrough, but not any type of practice the media can go to.
And at this point of the season, and considering everything that's happened this year, I'm fine if they just don't practice because it feels like something terrible is going to happen if they were to practice. Fever better for ratings, best ratings in every game. Is that true?
They have been so far in this playoffs, yes.
Yeah.
Got 1.2 million game 2 against.
Yeah, when they're not competing with the NFL, they're still getting a ton of people watching their games.
It is crazy. It is fun to see though, and it's it's crazy the numbers that are being thrown around for TV ratings for professional women's basketball. It's pretty amazing.
My family watches games sometimes just to see if they can see me on the screen. So
that's what my family do too. I had to inform them that I wasn't in Vegas though, so I told them to look for you, and they were more excited about that anyway. So good for you, Chloe. Well, anyway. Tony, what you got coming this week?
We have.
Yeah, I'm going to use that Becky quote to write about game 1. The Fever hadn't seen the real Aces, but it turns out the Aces hadn't seen the potential level of this Fever team either. So
Good tease.
There it is.
Good tease. Ooh, we got a good question too, Chloe. So you're going to wait to tease your stuff. Did you get the vibe that Demiris Doncic is close to returning, or are we worried about her returning this season?
I would say the second thing, the latter, because, I mean, her not traveling here when she did travel to Atlanta, I think is a step in the wrong direction. And obviously we don't know the severity of her concussion. I mean, some of them can be really bad concussions that take multiple weeks, or some of them can be, mild.
Mm-hmm.
I think Nalissa Smith missed 1 game with a concussion this season, but it all depends on the severity, the player, all kinds of things. But
I checked on this. The average missed time for a W player this season was between 7 and 14 days for a concussion this season. Asia missed 4 games. Rakia Jackson missed 2. So this is not like uncommon at this stage, but this is towards the longer end. She's definitely not playing in the next game, right? She's not even in Vegas. So
yeah, I mean, unless she miraculously gets better and then flies out to Vegas in time.
So we're right now at 9 days or 10 days?
10 days.
Yeah. So game 3 seems, let's say, exceedingly plausible to me. But last time I guessed, I was totally wrong. So Tony can stop talking now.
It felt like a good sign in hindsight that she was sitting at the arena in these loud gyms with the concussion. So maybe it was fine. And then you guys
not doing that.
and then you guys.
I thought it was a good sign. She was able to be in those environments, but now
maybe it made it worse. And then the flying, which again you guys were fine with, but I was hesitant because again Chloe Bibby's knee inflated to whatever happened, and now she's not playing either. But yeah, it is concerning, and it also highlights kind of the fragility of the Fever situation, where if Aaliyah Boston gets into foul trouble, Natasha Howard gets into foul trouble, options get real thin, and suddenly Asia Wilson's going for 50 to 60, in an effort to make up for tonight's debacle. Couldn't either work for the storyline, either Mercury route and we're in, or we are battling them. Well, I think just the drama between the two franchises and the players involved is what makes the Mercury such a tantalizing matchup in terms of storylines.
Steph White versus AT.
Yes.
It's kind of a thing, right? I'll make that up.
Steph White versus AT and DB. She coached both of them last year.
True.
Obviously, DeWanna Bonner returning to Cambridge. She did not get a warm reception last time she was there.
Sophie Cunningham going out to Arizona where they love her.
Yes, that too. She had a margarita named after her in the arena, the Sofarita.
That's incredible.
There's still like ads with her on her in Phoenix.
Yeah, there was an ad when I went to Phoenix. I should have taken a picture of it. Whenever they went to Phoenix, early September, there was an ad that had Sophie Cunningham on it, like as I was in the airport, as I was going down the escalator to baggage claim.
Look at her go.
So,
yeah, Chloe's killing it.
She's also in national TV. She's also in national TV commercials. So,
hell of a time for Bree Turner to be a revelation, though. Yeah, we didn't touch on Bree Turner. Probably should have. She was really good again tonight. She's
Really good.
probably like what? I closed out the box score. Most effective player off the bench for them.
He had 6 points, 3 of 4 shooting. Which they obviously don't rely on her to be a scorer, but 6 points is, pretty good, and it's a good boost for the Fever, I think, and helping her get more confident in scoring.
The other 4 players who came off the bench combined for a grand total of 8 points. So 6 of the however many that is off the bench there for Bree Turner. I mean, that's impressive, not to mention what she brings defensively. So she has been a revelation, as we talked about after last show. Chloe, what's your plan? You have the off day tomorrow. Any content coming, or we just have a bunch of sidebars up on the side, I suppose?
I don't know. Maybe I'll have something. I'll see.
So Chloe might have something. She might not. Yeah, what a bum. Kidding.
Unless anything new comes out of I assume the injury report will be the same tomorrow, but who knows? We'll see.
God, I hope it's the same. So Chloe, have that for you. She's in Vegas. She wrote a main bar on Kelsey Mitchell. I wrote one on the tempo and one on Asia Wilson, specifically.
On the Toronto tempo.
Specifically, Aaliyah Boston's defensive Asia Wilson.
No response at all.
Chloe doesn't have any more TV shows to harass us with, which is nice.
Sad.
Tony, maybe you will have a TV show that we can pick up on for our show Tuesday night, which will probably begin around 2 a.m.
Well, I haven't been able to watch Dancing with the Stars because they had a game on Tuesday, and now they have another game this Tuesday, so I can't watch Dancing with the Stars again. Very sad.
I'm locked into Celebrity Jeopardy right now, and the episode I'm on has Mina Kimes.
Yeah.
We love Mina Kimes.
Love that for you. So those are all the things that all of us have. We thank you guys so much for watching. This is a very good show. They should play more games at 3 o'clock because our post-game shows really pop off with the live audience and the audience participation. We will be back probably on Tuesday night. We'll see how we're feeling. Maybe it's one of those that we punt to another night because that'll be at like 2 a.m. Eastern by the time that we all finish writing, which is right in Tony's wheelhouse, but I'm old and Chloe's young, so we'll see. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will be back with you here in a couple days. Oh, wait, wrong button. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.